Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to you. If this is your first time here, my name's Leanne and I love hand sewing. And what are we doing here today? Well, I'm collaborating on a project for a friend, and my theme that I've chosen is water. So we're all working together on one big piece, and we are going to represent the elements of the earth. And I've decided to go with water. And I thought straight away I want to make a koi pond with lotus blossoms. And this fabric that I have here was left over from a quilt that I made. So I dyed the fabric using shibori method, and this is strips of fabric that was left over from making that quilt. And the koi pond, I'm taking my inspiration from Japanese gardens where you can see those beautiful koi. Look how large their mouths are, and lovely lily ponds with beautiful flowers. And what I'm currently doing is stitching circles. So I'm going to stitch the pond water down using ripples of water as if a pebble's been dropped. And so I'm just using my clover circles to draw on with chalk where I'd like to do my running stitch to stitch it all down. So simply going to use running stitch on all of these concentric circles until the piece is stitched down completely. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with running stitch, just going in and out around the work, and so I won't bore you too much with this. I'll go and stitch most of it off camera and come back when it's done. Okay, so I've just used Unipin fine liner to go over my sketch so that I could see through my fabric, and I've drawn it on my fabric in pencil. Now to add the red. So I'm using aloe vera gel and inktense pencils, and I think I used poppy red by the look of it. So I'm just doing the red patches. I've seen online other people using aloe vera gel, and it seems to work better than water on fabrics in stopping the bleed. I also did a little swatch test with hand sanitizer, a gel hand sanitizer, and that worked really well too. Don't know about you, but we've got lots of expired hand sanitizer. Well, not lots, we've got a big tube of it. And so, well, maybe it's just the gel part of it that's useful. You know, the gel being thicker, it's not going to bleed through the fabric like water does. And it certainly worked very, very well. Now, I haven't washed these or ironed them or had them for a year or anything, so I don't know yet how they'll last. I also don't know if the sort of alcohol contained in these things would have an impact long term on the pencils, but I figure it's a pencil, you just sharpen that end off, right? Anyway, so my plan is to, that's ended up a bit bigger than I wanted, never mind. My plan is to needle turn, applique, the koi down on their pond. Now I'm really applying a lot here. I want it to penetrate the fabric and not just sit on top, because I want it to be quite a nice solid colour. If you just paint on top, when it dries, it looks as if it's just painted on top, if you get what I mean. It's sort of a bit patchy, a bit streaky. See, that's why I've got something underneath, because it's coming through. So I'm going to leave this to thoroughly dry before I do any more. Okay, so that guy has his red patches on. He's ready to be left to dry. I'll be back later. Okay, I'm finishing the edges of the fabric that I'm using for the fins of the koi. I want them to sort of sparkle and be 3D and stand out. And this is a very frayy fabric, it frays a lot. And so I'm just holding the edges of it over the heat of a candle flame to melt and seal those edges, taking great care with how close I'm holding it to the flame. I also have off camera beside me a bowl of water, should the fabric catch light, because that is a possibility if you accidentally go too close. I'm also taking great care because the areas that have melted are hot, and so I'm making sure I don't touch those, and my room is well ventilated. Okay, so now I'm going to needle turn, applique this down, and I am going to cut the fins off, which is scary, but I have my diagram to refer to. Just leaving a couple of millimetres around the edge. I think that looks like a pretty good position. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I wanted this covered. Put you there, because you've got the big fin. Put you there. Put you there. Okay. Okay, so I've come up on the line. Now, it can help the process if you sort of finger press. Okay, in your main fabric, and then take a tiny nibble and come back up on your line. Right, now I'm going to check my diagram for the placement of the fins. in at the same spot on the backing fabric, come a little bit forward, emerge on the line. And that's called needle turn because you can turn it under with the needle. So just, I like to needle turn it just a little bit ahead of where I'm sewing. That's the idea. The fin's been captured as I sewed the little fishy down. I'm going to keep doing this and I'll be back once it's sewn on. Time to cut the petals of the lotus blossom. I'm using Duchess satin. This is actually leftovers from my wedding dress. So when we were married 29 years ago, I sewed my own wedding dress, and so I still have the offcuts from that dress today, and I'm cutting those up into little petal shapes to sew together to form the lotus. And as I did with the fabric for the fins of the fish, I'm going to hold the edges of this fabric over the flame. I've done this in the past, and this fabric actually melts to sort of quite a plasticky consistency on the edge. The pink organza I'm just tearing into shreds. I'm going to make that the sort of little frilly bits that stick up in the centre of the flower. Now the photos that I have, I took the centre's yellow, but the petals are tinged with pink underneath, and so I'm just going to take a little artistic license here and use pink frills in the centre and yellow button for the centre. So let's find the perfect yellow button, shall we? And I have already a jar full of my tiny buttons put aside. So I've got a massive jar of buttons, and last time I needed a small button, I just kept them all separate in this little jar. Let's see what we can find. that's all I have time for this week. So thank you so much for joining me. It was lovely to have your company. And come back next week. I will share with you how I'm going to make the water lily to finish off this piece. I'm loving it so much. I'm really, really enjoying this project, and I hope you are too. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.